Well, everyone, welcome back to Sonora Spring Zoo, where we build kind of our headliner animal. I really wasn't expecting to build for lions in this zoo, but I was kind of convinced to do so because of, well, the community, all of you guys, and a few of my friends as well. So here we are actually building for this really gorgeous animal, especially now that we have Gaboy and Havocs and Toscas and whoever the hell else worked on it. The African wild, not African wild dog, the African lion remaster. Really beautiful mod, and a really beautiful animal at that. So welcome everyone. I hope you guys are all having the most wonderful of wonderful days. My name is Leaf, and it's so great to have you guys back here for another Sonora Spring Zoo speed build. So we are continuing off from last time where we built for our tortoises and going right for a huge animal right after that one. I hope you guys responded well to that. If you guys haven't seen that episode yet, go check that one out before this one. Just watch them in chronological order. What could it hurt, you know? But yes, today I really wanted to go for a bit of an innovative habitat when it comes to the African lions. I wanted it to be very fun, and I wanted it to be very immersive. So I had this idea kind of going throughout here, utilizing a whole bunch of different inspirations. Cincinnati Zoo for a predator-prey kind of look. So you'll see that once we actually do get to the next episode. Not sure when that will be out. It's about halfway done right now, but hopefully I can get that out for you guys around this week, maybe next week. I'm not really sure. But also utilizing Franklin Park Zoo. Franklin Park Zoo is one of my local zoos. It's a really, really cool institution. The Kevin James movie Zookeeper was filmed there, which is a very fun fact, very fun movie. But what they also have is easily one of the coolest lion habitats ever. So it's just a really, really awesome castle, kind of like, I don't know. It's like a castle with a whole bunch of like safari things in there, like a safari lodge. It's just really cool vibes. Pictures online don't really do it justice. If you're in the Boston area, please go check it out. Really awesome habitat. But I was like, okay, I like the style that they have over there, but I want to do something kind of fun for myself. So I had this idea to do like the servo station, kind of like a petrol station, kind of abandoned, as a way to integrate some like overturned cars and stuff like that. So I thought that was a super fun idea. So I was like, okay, let's go ahead with that. Let's have a little fun. So you could see I'm getting to work on the actual framework of the habitat first and foremost. I wanted to make sure that these lions would not be able to escape, which is hopefully my number one priority when it comes to designing the zoo, is making sure that no animals are able to escape, including one of the fiercest predators in Africa. So I really wanted to make sure that they aren't able to escape. So you could see I'm utilizing a whole bunch of different techniques in here. I like to make these habitats as diverse as possible. So I utilize moat techniques, which you can see over there with the viewing gallery on the left, as well as the overlook onto the savanna on the right. And I also use climb-proof fences, which I believe are from Masani. I think I might be wrong, but Masani is a really awesome modular builder who has a lot of awesome stuff on the workshop. So regardless, go check out their stuff. And yeah, that's really it. I have some glass viewing up here, which is very nice and gets you a really awesome up close and personal look at the lions, which is something I always find so mesmerizing, specifically with big cats, especially in zoos. It's just really awesome to see that stuff come to life. So I really wanted to have this area feel like it's this nice, very kind of abandoned kind of feel. And I made these little pillars, well, these arches really, utilizing a whole bunch of wood pieces, especially with like those climbing logs. But I thought something was missing. So I start to add some decorations to these guys. And then I noticed that these tires on the edge of them look really good. So I thought that was a super fun technique to do. So I just use position snap throughout there, and I start to edit it a little bit, see what I can do. And then I'm like, okay, so the tires are there. What about some cars? So I have some overturned cars over to the left of the habitat that the lions would be able to climb on. Maybe they would bite off the tires and stuff like that as enrichment, who knows. And then I add a kind of asphalt path throughout here. And I'm like, what if this is like an abandoned road? So I'm like, all right, let me use some of the decals throughout here, make it feel a little bit more grimy, a little bit more muggy. and I add some of the other kind of curbs throughout here as well. Again, I do custom curbs. As much as it drives me insane, it also looks so good in the end. So if you guys are new here, custom curbs, they are the way to go. But I add a whole bunch of those throughout here. And then once I'm done with that, I'm like, okay, I need this to look a little bit more like a gas station. So I'm like, okay, what do we need? A custom gas pump. So I actually found this very awesome reference online of like this very dingy looking gas station from Africa. I apologize, I really wasn't able to find where it was from, but I really like the style of this gas tank. It was kind of like this nice muted green color, and also had this glass part on top. You'll see that come to be in just a little bit. I was really trying to struggle and figure out which glass pieces I would be able to use for something like this, but I kind of ended up on these stained glass pieces. Just a really fun effect when all is said and done. I don't know, it just feels like it's kind of that old kind of style of gas tank. I don't know. So I also use a whole bunch of Twilight pieces in here. Really am super satisfied with how well all of those Twilight pieces worked. And yeah, that's really it. So I utilize a whole bunch of those throughout here. And I'm just trying to figure out what would be the best way to make this kind of, like the gas pump actually stick out. So I think I kind of settle with, I honestly forget what I settle with. I think I try and go with conservation. Yes. Oh yeah, I use those bins because they have enough like detail in there that it feels like there's a lot going on in there. But eventually we got that all said and done. And I was like, okay, we need the gas pump. How can we take this up a next level? So I put the little nozzle on there. Then I'm like, okay, what's a tiny piece that would be able to be used for like, you know, a nice thick tube? And I'm like, oh my god, the end caps actually work so well with that. So I kind of make these guys go all throughout here. I'm naturally curving it where it would kind of like, you know, kink and turn. And then I kind of, you know, line that back up with the rest of the gas pump right there. And that's it, pretty much done. So I will be throwing that up on the workshop eventually. I'm hoping to update that master Sonora Springs Zoo workshop blueprint. It's just a really awesome piece, really awesome collection of pieces, sorry, that I'm super satisfied with, so I'm super happy with that. And I also add a few corrugated iron pieces over there, nothing really too crazy. I just really wanted to make it feel like, you know, it's nice and abandoned. And what better way to do that than, let's just say, corrugated pieces. So, yeah. Then I started to add some of these decals throughout here. I think these are like the chips or the creases in terms of, you know, what we got with the European DLC. I think those came in. We really need some more kind of decals, I think. I think it'd be a super awesome thing to have. But I start to make these kind of viewing frames have a little bit more integrity, and I was like, do I want to cover these guys up? So I'm kind of playing with these angles a little bit, trying to make that, like it naturally go up and stuff. But I think eventually I kind of just gave up on that. Maybe I'll go back to it during the Savannah episode, just to make sure that, you know, I have this whole cohesive Africa area, even though kind of like the start was the Africa. It's just a whole mess in North Springs. But I kind of like the fact that it doesn't really have one concurrent theme, because it just helps the zoo feel a lot more real. Because so many zoos around the United States don't really have animals in, like, you know, concrete sections. Especially in Miami, there's so many. I just got back from Miami, so there's so many areas in Miami that are just like, yeah, we don't know what to put here. Let's just put pigs. So they throw a whole bunch of pigs in one area with, like, you know, guanaco and peccaries right next to it too. So it's like, yeah, sure, we could throw all of that in a single batch. Sure, why not? We could throw some lemurs over here too. That kind of fits, right? It's just very fun going for like those inorganic kind of themings, because it makes the zoo feel a lot more organic to begin with. Also, working on the habitat itself, don't think I forgot about that. I got a little bit too distracted by the actual theming, but soon enough we actually do get back to the habitat and make a nice realistic and nice naturalistic kind of habitat in here. I really didn't want the theming to kind of hammer down so much in the habitat itself, because I feel like that would take away from some of the attention that I'm kind of trying to draw into it. So I'm like, all right, what can we do in here? I really wanted to do a lot of rock work. That's what we do in there. So I have these nice organic kind of waves, and like waves that the formation of the terrain kind of take effect. So I have it all kind of like on a hillside, so you could always see where the lines are at all points, because that's super important when it comes to exhibit design, especially when you have an exhibit where you can only look in from one side. You gotta make sure that, you know, you can have 1 or 2 hiding areas for some animals if they're trying to get away. But for the most part, you always need to make sure that animals are able to be seen. Otherwise, guests will complain, guests won't be happy, guests will kind of like, you know, trash talk your zoo or something like that. I'm not really sure. But yeah, that's really the effect that I want to portray in there. So I'm utilizing a whole bunch of these custom plants. Again, these were hand selected by Zoov, so you could check out the second to last video in terms of how we kind of develop the foliage palette, or how he developed the foliage palette for Sonora Springs Zoo, and just all the things that we need to squeeze in here. So moving on from there, I get started with the ground layer first, because I always build my way down up, except for some, you know, a lot more eye candy places. So maybe once or twice I'll put down a specific tree or something like that, just as a way for your eye to gravitate towards an area, or some kind of weenie in the habitat or something like that. Then I work from smallest grasses to biggest grasses, and then shrubs, and then so on and so forth. So you can see I put all of those buffalo grasses in there, and I realize I'm very far away from when I actually put them down. But I put all those buffalo grasses down in there, and then I synced it ever so slightly into the habitat. That way you get a lot more organic kind of shapes, and it sort of loses its kind of, you know, cookie cutter look to it. And it feels a lot more organically made into the habitat, and that's just the effect that I really like to sell. Also, adding our drin grass in here. Normally the drin grass would be our #1 grass, but after getting all this stuff in conservation and grasslands, we've had so many awesome more plants that I was just super excited to use, and it just looks so nice to begin with. Also, adding some other pieces in here just helps sell the area vibe. I also added those tire enrichments over there because, you know what? It's a servo station. I really want to add some tires. Also, making sure that these faux kind of cliffs are a little bit more organically weaved in here, so I add some drin grass on the top of them. You see this a lot whenever it comes to like these nice cliffscapes. I know that Mystic Aquarium is where I get most of my inspiration off of these, especially from their outdoor habitats. They kind of portray this really well. But yeah, I'm just super excited to show you guys like the final result of this habitat. But I kind of organically try and weave in the rest of the habitat into the surrounding area as well, just to help this area feel a lot more concrete and help it feel like it's supposed to be here and like it's been here, if that makes sense. Also, adding some more plants into the moat section as well. Ideally, you really wouldn't have anything in there. But I really wanted to have like a kind of like a sandy bottom, so that's something I try and integrate right back there. And I also try and cover up this holding facility as well. Again, sticking with a relatively modern, relatively simple holding facility back here, just making sure that, you know, it just feels nice. It just feels like I don't know, not too much going on, but that's exactly what I want out of this habitat. The habitat is supposed to be very subtle. The habitat is supposed to be very, let the foliage speak for itself and let the guest enrichment, oh my god, let the guest areas speak for themselves as well. Just have it look very nice to begin with, and that's exactly what I like out of this habitat. The holding facility for our next habitat is going to be very nice. It's going to be very, very beautiful. I already built it. It's just so nice. Oh my gosh, guys, super excited for that. But as we draw our way to the end of this exhibit, I do want to thank you guys one last time for stopping by. Again, I was trying to get those roof pieces to work, but nothing was really ticking. Nothing was really sticking. Yeah. that's really it. Thank you guys so much for stopping by. I'm very tired at this moment, so I think I'm gonna adjourn relatively early. I'm just gonna make sure you guys get to the actual cinematics first. Also adding in a little bit of that water foliage as well, just making sure that that's nice and cohesive as well, and some of the educational signage and whatnot. But thank you guys so much for watching. Really do appreciate your support. Hope you guys enjoyed this habitat. It was easily one of my favorite ones to build in the zoo, so I hope you guys enjoy. Alright, peace out everyone. Take care and have the most wonderful of wonderful days. Goodbye now.